Okay, well, appreciate everybody joining us here. Again, my name's Chad Landman, account executive here at eGroup. I'm based out of our headquarters in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with eGroup, but we've been around for 20 plus years now, kind of born in the data center and core infrastructure, and expanded our team and focus throughout the years. We are a premier partner with Cisco, and today's conversation is around the Cisco SecureX platform to simplify and integrate your existing investments across the Cisco platforms to increase efficiency and visibility and automate workflows throughout your environment. Today's topics to look at the agenda. I'm going to touch on our partnership with Cisco, a brief success story here locally, and then turn it over to James McDonald, solution architect here from the eGroup team. And James has 20 plus years experience throughout the network, security, and wireless, and primarily focused in and around the Cisco stack of technology offerings. From there, he'll cover what the challenges that Cisco SecureX takes on and solves, as well as some of the features, functionality, integrations, and show you a little bit of what the portal looks like before we wrap up. This isn't set to take an incredible amount of time, so we should be wrapped up here by the 11:30 time, and send everybody back on their way. And this is a continued weekly tech talk series that we've been delivering pretty much since the beginning of quarantine back in March, and we've had tremendous success in following with this, and appreciate everybody joining us. So I'll go ahead and jump on in. So we are a premier partner with Cisco, and a number of our engineering team are certified across the Cisco technical certifications that are out there, and express specialization, where we focus on data center, networking, security. It's where we're talking here today. And then we also have the go-to market and alignment with the local Cisco teams, right? From our teams that are up in the Mid-Atlantic to the Northeast and then Southeast, where majority of our team sits today. Not only financially with Cisco on a focus to go to market, but also alignment with the appropriate resources to help you leverage your current investments and help you address future initiatives. Moving on, a success story, right? A DoD contractor with a contract over 16 billion, a very busy organization, and a heavy investor in Cisco, not only throughout the network but security, as well as wireless. And they recently integrated SecureX at no additional cost to what they've already invested, to maximize operational efficiency and automate some workflows, identified some vulnerabilities that were out there with some legacy firmware, and immediately provided the visibility to get that done quickly. This is a recurring technical services agreement with eGroup. We offer proactive and reactive kind of monthly recurring services, with guaranteed response times from our technical team, where you have access to our entire bench of engineering team. Really all the core competencies and skill sets that our team has, your organization would have access to. So I want to kick this forward over to James McDonald to get started on what is really driving, what drove Cisco to release the Cisco SecureX platform, and what are organizations looking to accomplish with it. James?
Thank you, Chad. And again, hello and good morning. My name is James McDonald, and like Chad mentioned, I've been around the Cisco environment for quite some time. A lot of that background came, with my healthcare years. Healthcare is very interesting, especially these days, with multitude of attacks and information being released and stolen. So, it all started, we protect things in very kind of isolated formats, and it became very difficult to discover intruders and attack vectors. And one of the main concerns was always how do we get all of this into a single pane of glass? And it's something that every network and security engineer wish they had. It's great that you have all these products to be protecting your environment, but it's harder to determine, okay, was it through email? Was it through the network entry point? Was it a user that brought something in? You could find it, but it was very difficult and time consuming. With that, Cisco came up with an environment called SecureX. It's a single pane of glass for, security products across their entire portfolio, and also allows some third-party integration as well. The plan was really to make, to make your experience more simplified, accelerated, in response times and remediation, and make sure that just everything is secured as it was meant to be. The ultimate end game on this was just simplicity. I mean, everybody knows, if you're looking at the ASA firewall kind of management console, then you have to go over to, say, an AMP for endpoints console. It was really hard to get all that into one complete picture. SecureX will do that for you. Next slide, please. So the platform, again, really just wants to bring the approach of, okay, simplicity. Let's tie all these nice features and security vectors that we have in place. Let's utilize them in a fashion that can be seamless. We can diagnose and troubleshoot and see attack vectors, see where they're coming from, mitigate them, get deeper insight, really utilize the applications that we have in store and in place to make sure they're doing their job, and two, that we are protecting as needed, and three, to make sure we can remediate, report, and isolate, if that time calls upon. And efficiency, we'll talk about a little bit about, some of this stuff can be automated. Is there a certain thing that needs to, or a report that needs to be generated, or workflows or workbooks where you can say, and even do replays of the incident in an isolated sandbox through threat responses and threat defense. So these things are all starting to come together as a single pane of glass, a holistic picture for all the entire ecosystem of products that are being utilized. So the next slide kind of talks about a little bit of the history of platforms. Early 2007s, we started talking about network segmentation, email security, web security. It became real big. Some of the earlier days around viruses being sent through email. And then as the portfolio and the platform started to get more enhanced, we started talking about cloud, and then network access control, which is, what used to be called NAC, now it's ICE, UTM threat defenses. At first it was ASAs, and now we have the Firepower Management Center with the next gen firewalls. And, moving forward, you get the cloud access security brokers for all your cloud bases like Box and OneDrive. So files can't just be taken away or accessed without permission, and if it is, who did it and where and why. So all these nice platforms come to the fruition of, again, they're all single panes of glass, and you have to go into these one by one to kind of figure out what happened. And so we come to the introduction of SecureX, the single platform where you can manage, maintain, have visibility of your entire security portfolio and know what's going on with your network within seconds and minutes instead of hours and days. So continuing on with the security portfolio, it kind of just pairs them all together. You have your network with your IPS and your firewalls, and the end user protection with AMP and email security, and multi-factor authentication with Duo, the cloud edge with analytics and secure web gateways, and then your application protection for workloads and end user support for anything else related to your applications. And all that feeds back to Talos, which is the Cisco threat intelligence, which processes millions and billions of transactional and threats a day to keep all our information safe and secure, and reports back. These updates, if any, are seen, they get pushed down real time to all throughout these products, and also to the SecureX dashboard, which everything is seen as to a single platform. So the next one is visibility. It's been our kind of our topic and our theme is we swivel our chair to see so many views. Some I've seen, IT knocks and socks where they have multiple monitors, and most shops aren't that big. We're going to be a 2, 3, 4 man crew trying to do multiple things. Need to see multiple incidences and track these vectors and where they're going. So with SecureX and the portal, it makes it very easy. You can have even your own dashboards for your network operations, your security operations, or just some IT operations that's, that 24/7 that is the first line of defense going, constantly monitoring. And each dashboard can be customizable. You can have everything, the entire selection down to just a few selections. And if you want, C-levels personnel to be able to access it, it's condensed to them as well. Just kind of that overview of how the network is doing and how secure is it to be, any kind of mitigations or anything that needs to go on. So introducing the SecureX, this is kind of just a snapshot of what the dashboard looks like. If anybody's interested, we can always schedule a real live demo and we can poke around. The nice thing is very customizable. You can do network endpoints, security applications, cloud applications. It can all be integrated. Just some examples like N for endpoint, email security, next-gen firewall, umbrella. And almost everything, as you can see in the center, is going to be pretty much anything you select. So for example, umbrella, you'll be able to select, it'll say like 118 active threats, and you'll be able to select those and see those as well in a report and some incident responses. Off to the very left is kind of everything that you either selected or is an option. So if you happen to get an incident that comes in from email, but you may not have the email web filtering service enabled, you can actually click right there from the SecureX website portal, and activate a free trial and bring that into your portal. During that free trial, you'll be able to investigate and see where these threats are coming from and how to remediate them. Off to the very right of the portal will also be a news feed where you get the latest updates from Talos, any kind of new threat vectors that you may need to be aware of, latest information on updates and forthcoming upgrades to the SecureX portal. So there's a lot of good information on that. Again, you can break it out to teams, SecOps, IT Ops, NetOps. There's the unified visibility, which is really interesting to see, because when you start clicking down and start investigating, that ribbon on the very bottom of the portal is always going to be the same across all the information portals you'll come across. So you'll always see the detection analytics, the investigation remediation, the management policy, and also the orchestration automation for runtime and playbooks to kind of automate all these. Like if you are constantly doing reviews of a signature or something, it can go to each of these and pull information in, show you the results, and provide you the remediation path. The nice thing is also you can also export to a SIM or a SOAR to third parties, SOCs if you have any kind of managed services in that. So all those can be combined, exported, and reviewed as well. SecureX does all these great features. It's just not a SIM at the moment, and may not be ever. It's more of just a remediation, a tool to bring all your security features into one platform.
And hey everyone, this is Dave Abbott with Cisco. I'm going to pop back on that previous slide really quickly. James brought up a great point around the NetOps for SecOps. And one thing I've seen with my customers that are adopting this heavily is the ability to generate customized dashboards. And they'll create one on a NetOps side where they've got firewall policies and rule-based alerts, as well as things like Stealth Watch for net flow analysis of east-west traffic. And they'll have that as one dashboard. And then they'll set a separate dashboard for things around Umbrella and their AMP for endpoints to be able to look at end-user behavior analysis. And so different users within IT, whether they care more on the network side or end-user behavioral side, can create their different dashboards and reports based on what they care about. So from an alerting standpoint, rather than being on a single email chain or having a centralized syslog server, this allows everyone to be able to create their own customized dashboards to be able to get initial top of the line each day. What are my updates of what's going on within the environment? Do I need to drill into something further? So this becomes a singular place to log into and view depending on what your whereabouts are for that day.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. Very good information. Yeah, and to add on, in talking about workflows and the simplicity of SecureX, once an alert comes in, step one, you'll see you get an alert in the information console. Step two would be to investigate a lot of the incidences in multiple consoles, which would be the older style, and then remediate, by coordinating teams. All those kind of incidences and features and rule sets you have to do kind of manually all become one single pane for you to remediate, to investigate, and it gives you a clear-cut picture of where it came in, where it was found, what was the endpoint, kind of the domain. So it provides all that information seamlessly into a very good report. You can track it down, you can expand it out even further if you feel like that really wasn't everything it hit. So you can do a lot of querying, you can do telemetry around it, and expand out to see the full footprint of that threat. And then you can also remediate. You can block that host from further propagating a virus, all from that console. On the next one, we talk about the efficiency, and we kind of touched base a little bit in some previous slides. But beforehand, you had, if you were using playbooks or automation for scripts, those sometimes got out of date and not always up to date, current. And a lot of that stuff becomes orchestrated with SecureX. So if you say got an alert, it needs to do task A or task B, and if it meets these conditions, then it will do these tasks and provide you you can automatically remediate. So one of the nice things is one of the comments is like you can combine 9 tasks across 3 different tools, and it's done. Unlike where we had to go into console, let's say the firepower console, and do something here and then do something on the amp console. It's all done by orchestration now. Some of the great integrations, there's a whole slew of integrations with third-party tools. Obviously, it will integrate with all the Cisco infrastructure around collaboration and multi-cloud platforms and networking, some general infrastructure, and just third-party infrastructure as well. There's a whole, as you can see, there's many vendors and companies that are listed on, and very popular ones at that. So it's not just the Cisco ecosystem that SecureX is looking at, it's the entire ecosystem that's really looking at integrating this single pane of glass and helping remediate and find out where your attacks are coming in, how to eliminate them out of your network. And back to the SOC topic, it integrates into your SOC. If you have a security operations center or a third-party hosted one, these can be exported and even into your SIMs and security feeds. So it kind of helps your real-time management and your 24/7 protection of your security. So in kind of closing, really, the next steps is be happy to set up some demos. Talk further more about how we can integrate, the products that you already have into SecureX, and help keep you in a single pane of glass and easier management of all your security products. And with that, I appreciate your time, and I'll hand it over to Chad.
Yeah, that's basically it. We're happy to schedule a focus review to see how SecureX can help your organization, and we'll be happy to take any questions. I didn't see any pop up in the chat there, so we'll go ahead and wrap. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the week and weekend. Thank you.